All right, here we go. This is Ger Toshav Part 2, second class. All right, ready? All right, so you have your flyers in front of you, handouts, and the first class was just an overview of Bnei Noach. Second class was kind of a balagan of all the different inyanim of Ger Toshav, and we want to today go over inside proper text, Brisker Rav, and go over the steps of how to see Ger Toshav in text. The simple answer is the more that you already know to plug into the text, the more your pshat will grow. The lesser that you know going into it, your chances are very slim to none to understanding Ger Toshav. It's kind of an unfair system, but that's how it is. Right? So like even today, when I was preparing this, I've been over this Brisker Rav about 1 billion times, and because I have to know it, let's say, to give it over, right? If you have to know it, then you're more hypersensitive to the terms, and you start to realize more chedushim, more nafkaminas, more conclusions, right? So I don't need to get into those right this second. But again, the more you know, the more you're familiar, the more the sugya grows. So on the most radical end of things, if you're learning in the Gemara and you happen to come across the Ger Toshav source, right? And you want to know what's the Indian here? What kind of Ger Toshav is this? Blah blah blah. If it just says let's say you look in Rashi, right? It says Ger Toshav. Let's just make it up for context. A Ger Toshav can drink Jewish wine, right? It's in tractate Ger Toshavs who drink Jewish wine. So your first question is, well, what is a Ger Toshav, right? Gemara Rashi. You're going to read Rashi, and what is Rashi going to say? Someone who shalo aved avodah zara, or kibel alav shalo aved avodah zara. How would you understand that? Shekibel alav shalo aved avodah zara.
Accepts upon himself and doesn't practice on himself.
Right. But so now you take that just again to do chazara on these concepts. Did Rashi write that, or was that copied and pasted? And then you have to ask yourself, where was it copied and pasted from? And generally, something like that would be Avodah Zorah 64b. Why? Because you know the sugya, right? There should be no guesswork. Then you have to realize, what does kibel mean? It doesn't mean accepted when we know it inside, right? It means Kabbalah. So then you have to ask yourself, what level Kabbalah? Again, the more you know the sugya, the more you can plug in. If you don't know to plug it in, you learn it a bit chaser. It affects your pshat. But that's true with anything in the Torah Shabbal Peh, is it not? Right? Anything that you learn, you're always going to be chaser until you learn more. I mean, that's the nature and beauty of Torah. So, but this sugya particularly, you really can't squeak by without knowing it. It's a special sugya like that, right? A lot of things you can just kind of talk and get by. This one isn't one of them, even though everyone does. So kibel, was it before 3 men in Beis Din? Was it a proper Kabbalah? What does it grant you, the Kabbalah? What is the nature of the Kabbalah? I thought we don't do Kabbalah today. Remember, Kabbalah, personal acceptance on himself. And that's just one example. What does it mean? Kibel lav shelo aved avodah zara. What avodah zara? Can he serve in shituf? Is shituf allowed? So again, the more you know, the more you bring in, the more you appreciate the sugya. Again, it's true for everything in Torah, but this one is special. So look at the sheet. You want me to read, or one of you guys want to read?
I can read it.
Want me to read? All right, so Rav Moshe Soloveitchik, who gave me a skama on my sefer, he told me that the question asked here, he thinks, he's pretty sure, was from Rav Yosef B. Soloveitchik, asking his uncle, the Brisker Rav, this question. It's just an interesting side point, right? Hadaras Gano be Indian Ger Toshav, Delo Dami Kablaso Lageris Shel Ger Tzedek. How many? What do you think the buzzwords are? Now I know you know the words. What do you think it means? What do you think I'm thinking when I see this? What goes on in my mind?
You have to find the makor for Kablaso and Ger Tzedek.
Right, but so he's saying, what's the Indian? Right? What is a Ger Tzedek? It's a question, right? Because everyone's going to think it's a convert. That's not a question. Well, the very last words of the Brisker Rav are on this very part here. No one even. I just realized this today when I was doing this. This is a kasha. In the very end, he's answering the kasha. So I'll tell you the answer, just to let you know how deep it goes. Remember we said in Evid Kanani, I'm going to bring in a lot of different facts here. And you guys know specifically because you learned it with me in the Shabbos here. So an Evid Kanani accepts the mitzvahs of a woman on himself, right? And he has Mila and Tvila. That Evid Kanani is called a Ger Tzedek. We know that that's not a convert. So then, if you remember, we touched on this a little bit. The Magi and Avraham, and this is Mishnah, the Shulchan Aruch 304, Orach Chaim. The Magi and Avraham is going to ask, and the Mishnah Berurah is going to explain the Biur Halacha. Is there such a person in the world who takes on mitzvahs like an Evid Kanani Ger Tzedek, but doesn't convert to Judaism? Can you do it? Does the Kabbalah work? Is he obligated in mitzvahs? Is he considered a Jew or not? That's what he's asking here. So look at it again. Bi'inyan ger toshav, delo dami kablaso, lageris shel ger tzedek. You see how it's in there now? This guy was a non-Jew and stam akum, and he took on 7 laws, in theory, or desired maybe 7 laws. That's called ger toshav. Assuming he did everything legit. But he's comparing and contrasting that. Maybe this guy, at the time of his Kabbalah, took on most of the mitzvahs, all the mitzvahs. But he didn't want to convert to Judaism. So now it's a question, isn't it? B'inyan ger toshav, delo dami kablaso legeris shel ger tzedek. So now he's saying, what is the difference in Kabbalah? It's a non-Jew, call him a goy, and he's deciding, do I want to be a proper Noahide, a follower of 7 laws, or do I want to be almost Jewish? I don't want to be Jewish because I want to watch football on Saturday. I don't know, whatever Mishigassi's got going on. Right? He wants to leave the TV on Saturday. He wants to marry a non-Jewish woman. Maybe his wife isn't Jewish. He's a non-Jew, married to Martha, and he became stark on the internet, and he wants to go as far as he can, but he doesn't want to have to divorce his wife. You can hear the case, right? So now the number one question is, why is the Rambam, if that's true, why is the Rambam bringing us a very strange case like that? Think about it. Does the Talmud usually bring weird cases? It does. The case of a guy who fell off a roof next to a female, if you know what I mean. The Talmud asks weird questions, and it gives weird answers. I remember when I was in yeshiva, one of the cases in Nezikin was a dog bit a guy, and the owner, the owner of the dog says to the guy, "What's your hand doing in my dog's mouth?" So there's always the strange way of looking at it. Then you can ask yourself, is there a precedent that the Rambam would have such a case? So what's our famous case in Isuri Bia 14:8 that says there's no ger toshav ad zman yovel noyeg? So there it goes. There's no ger toshav today. Go home. And it says even if he accepts the whole Torah except for one thing, we don't makabel him. So again, this is just like the kind of thing a goy that keeps Shabbos is chayiv misa. We kill him. Do we kill him? No. So what's the Rambam saying? And this is clear. All the Meforshim on this Rambam is that is only true that he took on the whole Torah out except for one thing, when he wants to convert to Judaism. You don't have a convert except 99.9% of the Torah, but he doesn't believe in muksa. He goes to Beis Din and he says, yeah, listen, I'm Jewish pretty much, but I don't hold a muksa. I think the rabbis were wrong, and I dafka do muksa on Shabbos. They're not going to convert that guy. Right? Even if it's from the Divrei Sofrim, they're not going to convert him. They shouldn't, at least. But that's for conversion. What if you have your stark Noahide who says, I'm going to take on everything except for Muksa? I don't hold a muksa. Now, assuming that the beginning of what I said is not problematic, that you have such a non-Jew, but if he does make it through the gauntlet, you don't care if he doesn't hold a muksa. So again, is there such a Kabbalah for such a non-Jew to take on everything and he's not considered Jewish? And you see, it's the inverse of the Rambam. The Rambam was saying by Ger Toshav, we're not makabling him. He was talking convert. He wasn't talking non-Jew. So number one, why was the Rambam bringing it up? Number two, if he was copy and pasting it, that's why it's a weird case. So that answers your question. Why did the Rambam bring it up? Because it's a weird case and it exists. Therefore, he copies and pastes and brings it up. If it's already written, then you can expect the Rambam to bring it in the copy paste, no matter how far-fetched it sounds. Right? There's a brisa that there were aliens on Mars. Well, there wasn't. But if there was, the Rambam would bring it. You see, that's why there's no Ger Toshav today, because there's aliens on Mars. Right? If it's written, expect it to be brought and copied and pasted. A goy that keeps Shabbos Chai Misa, bring it. The very end words. Look at the very end words of the Brisker Rav. I mean, we're going to spiral back to the beginning, but look what he says. Divrei Rambam in Hilchos Malachim. Let's read it real quick in Hilchos Malachim, just so you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have your Rambams in front of you? It's 10:3 in the Rambam, Hilchos Malachim. Got it? This is your famous B'nai Noach section of the Rambam, or in Ger Toshav. Ready? 10:3. Ben Noach, again, loaded term, right? Shini's Gayer. What does Shini's Gayer mean? It's what you would think, but we don't know. Right? Kol Lashin is Gayer. Can eat every time. This is a famous Rashba. Any time you see Shin is Gayer, or any derivative in the grammar, it can be he was Megayer to Ger Toshav, or it can be Megayer to Ger Tzedek. Right? What do you call a Evid Kanani who becomes an Evid Kanani? He was Nizgayer. What do you call the Noahide who became a Ger Toshav and the Zman Yovel, if you want to call it that? Nizgayer. So we have some Ben Noach who is Nizgayer, I don't know to what, Umal V'Tavel, circumcised and dunked. Now everyone's going to say that's a Jew, right? The guy's going to read this and going to say, obviously he converted to Judaism. Only the Rambam doesn't say that. Have you ever met a convert who wanted to go back to being a Noahide? No. Are you ever going to meet in your life a convert that wants to practically go back to being a Noahide? No, it's illegal. That's like you saying that you're going to go back to being a Noahide from pre-Sinai. Not possible. Ain Shaimi and Lo, don't listen to him. What does it mean he's like Yisrael? Why are you not saying that he is a Yid? He's in Klal Yisrael. You see the problem here. So that's why the Brisker Rav is going to say the words of the Rambam are very, very strange. Dahari Hasim Kavaru Yisrael Gamar Lakul Dina. He's a total Yisrael and all the dinim. Beino Omar Beino Lushar Yisrael. What is different about him from every other Yisrael? V'im Ratzin Leimer Shinas Chayav Misa B'Shleizer Devar Mike Mashmal. If you want to say he's obligated to die because of whatever din, what do you mean? The Eza din Nemar. What din is that you're referring to? Sof Devar Divrei Harambam Tumoyim Miyod Ve'ilahim Shum Muvan L'chur. The Rambam is basically impossible to understand. Why? A goy that keeps Shabbos is Chayav Misa. We kill him. Do we? No. So then what does it mean? Well, number one, you're not going to figure it out. But you can look it up. There's a lot of Sfarim on it. Go look it up. Go look up Chagiga 13a. Look in the Marsha. Look at all the Perushim. You'll find a whole lot of written commentaries on what it means that a goy that keeps Shabbos or learns Torah is Chayav Misa. But it's not. But it is. But it's not. But not literal. So there's a precedent that the Torah is hard to understand. The Rambam is hard to understand. People think it's simple. That's what he's saying. People think it's simple. So why is it so hard? Once again, copy and paste. Rambam didn't write that. He brought it in. Because there is a shita of a Ger Tzedek non-Jew, someone who took on everything and didn't convert. Did you ever meet one? No, neither did I. Probably never will. But it's a strange case that exists. And the Magen Avram asks in our Hilchos Shabbos 304, right? What does it mean that he can take on mitzvahs like an Evid, the mitzvah of a woman as an Evid, but he's not an Evid, he's a Sachir. So the Mishnah Berurah asks, where do we find this? And the Mishnah Berurah asks the same question here. What is the difference between the Kabbalah of Ger Toshev and Ger Tzedek? I urge you to look up that Biur Halacha in the end of 304, Mishnah Berurah, or Chaim, where it's exactly the same question. See now how you bring all that in? It's inside, it's mashma. And he's saying, okay, good, we have two non-Jews. One wants to become a Noyachide, and the other one wants to become something more. We'll call it Ger Tzedek non-Jew, but just whatever it is. And he's saying, how does that work practically in Kabbalah? What does he do? What is the Kabbalah? Hold your right hand so I solemnly swear. And to become Ger Tzedek, what does he do? So here's the question again. B'inyan Ger Toshev delo dami kablaso leger shel Ger Tzedek shenasa al yidei zeh Yisrael. Now remember, there's two, I've seen this every time actually. There's two dargas of Yisrael when it comes to conversion. There's you see it in Shemos 12, 48, 49. You have it your Chumash in front of you? Look in Shemos 12, 48, and 49. You look at him with him. Read it.
Ki Yagor Yitcha Ger V'Asa Pesach L'Hashem Himol Lo Chol Zaper V'Az Yikrav L'Asoso Vaya Ezra Ha'aretz V'Kol Arel Lo Yochal Bo Torah Achas Yeh L'Ezra L'Aretz Hagar V'Sochecha.
That's it. So there's something called an Ezrachi. Are you guys Ezrachi? Are you native Jews? You're born Jewish? So you're a native Jew. Huh? Okay, hold that thought then. Native Jew. Okay, so now what happens when you convert to Judaism? Proper. Then you're called Ezrachi. When you did not convert to Judaism, you're called Yisrael Gamor. There's a difference. Yisrael Gamor and Yisrael Ezrachi. That's why it says one Torah for you and the native. So Tosfos asked a question by Shabbos in the Seres Adibris. How can this ger, the ger in your gate, right? How does he keep Shabbos? Do you really think it's asking about a Jew? You have your native convert is a Jew, and the Tosfos is asking, how is it a Jew can keep Shabbos? That's obviously not the question. So what is the question? He's asking, can the Ger Gamor, or Yisrael Gamor, he's Jewish. Can he keep Shabbos? The answer is yes. Because he exists. This is a weird case that exists. The Ger Tzedek non-Jew. The guy who took the Kabbalah further than Ger Toshav, and for whatever reason didn't convert. Because remember, the inverse case that the Rambam's talking about was, what if he wanted to convert, but he didn't do the one thing? Then we don't accept that guy. Right? One thing he didn't do, we don't accept him. As a Jew. But as a Yisrael Gamor, he's fine. So again, why does that case exist? Just because it exists. It's a copied and pasted case.
I thought Yisrael Gamor is somebody who's born Jewish.
No, Yisrael Gamor is someone who is a not full convert. You are an Ezrahi. You are a native Yisrael.
What's a convert?
A convert enters into Ezrahi. Yes. He's considered native.
So where are the two levels of the two?
Right, so the convert can marry the Jewess and produce a Jewish child. He enters into what's called the third holy house of Israel, the holy Kahal. There's three holy Kahal, Cohen, Levi, Israel. He marries a Jew, they have Jewish kids, and they eat gefilte fish. Right? So the non-convert doesn't enter the holy house. He doesn't marry a Jewess. Maybe he wants to marry a mamzeris. I don't know. Whatever it is. He doesn't want to be Jewish. Again, he wants to watch TV on Saturday. He's married to Marge. Whatever. I mean, it's a legal fiction on a certain level, because you don't see that guy running around today, but he has to exist because the shita and case exists. The possibility exists, and that's what's bothering the Brisker Rav. Assuming that this guy exists, he's saying, how does he do it? What is the Kabbalah necessary? It's not like a conversion. It's not like Ger Toshav. What's the Kabbalah? You understand? All these questions is a matter of the Kabbalah. And so the very end of the Rambam, he's saying, you're going to go back and read the Rambam, and you're going to say, oh yeah, obviously it was a convert. Well, obviously you didn't look close enough, because it was not a convert. Like a Yisrael? No, he's not like a Yisrael. He would be a Yisrael. So the Rambam is copying and pasting and bringing you things that are so radical, such as you kill a goy who keeps Shabbos, which everybody will quote that, but it's never literal. So the Rambam, we're not saying here that it's not necessarily literal. You can call it he's hyper literal. He's saying exactly what he's saying. He's like Yisrael. He's not Yisrael. Which begs the question, what kind of Kabbalah? You go to the Biur Halacha, and then Mishnah Berurah asks the same question. All right, let's go weiter.
How is a non-Jew able to be kival on himself, to be makabel more than Hashem?
That's what that Biur Halacha is asking.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, that's really what all I have to say today about the notes and everything. But there's no answer in the end. There's no easy answer. We're going to arrive to some kind of an answer. Stay tuned. Ready? So all you that Yisrael in the sky of mitzvahs, but this Ger Tzedek non-Jew, he is now obligated in the mitzvahs that he accepts for himself. Right? That we do know that about his Kabbalah. Aval hacha hari gam koidim Kabbalah mechuyev hu b'zayin mitzvahs. The Noahide was chayiv in Zion mitzvahs yesterday, before he took Kabbalah, and the day before yesterday. V'hari hu la'achar Kabbalah kamo koidim Kabbalah. Tomorrow he took Kabbalah. He's exactly the same as he was yesterday. Nothing changed in his chiyuv of mitzvahs. He was not chayiv, and now he's not more chayiv. Concerning his obligation in Zion mitzvahs, his Kabbalah doesn't make anything new. He is not now commanded in 8 mitzvahs, or in 3 mitzvahs, or in stronger 7, or weaker 7. Velo nitusfu alav shum chiyuvim al kol benayach da'alma. There is nothing additionally added as an obligation to him. He doesn't have to do anything more than a regular ben noyach. Which begs the question, what's the point of the Kabbalah? Does he need Kabbalah? Does he have to have Kabbalah? Notice everything that I will tell you about Ger Toshav from here to the end of time is your question. It is always going to be a question of Kabbalah. If you say, I heard there's no Ger Toshav today, what you're really saying is, you heard there was no Kabbalah today. I heard a Ger Toshav ate matzo ball soup. What you're really saying is, he didn't take Kabbalah on matzo ball soup. Whatever it is. I don't care how outrageous it is, or whatever it is, it's a question of Kabbalah every time. Avomar shohaisi v'daras gono. Oh, the nimsa shekol dino shoger toishiv. Eino ela b'yachis l'shivaso b'neinu ba'aretz. Ger Toshav proper is nothing more than him requesting to live in Eretz Yisrael. That's all it is. on one level. Remember, it's Sfei Din and Brisk. It's always been Sfei Dinim. More aspects of Ger Toshav. But he's introducing them like the Ikra Din here. Right? Ger Toshav is someone, whatever his status is, when he says, I'm a Ger Toshav, what he really means is, I want to live in Israel. Again, that's based on Kabbalah. Right? Zoy Samer Shbenegela Ger Toshav Arts Melonis Chadash Hoide Kablaso Devar L'Kol Atzmo Umalhusu Shel Ger Toshav Hu Rak B'Yachis LeYisrael Kamola Shiva Be'eretz V'Kadayim. All he wants is to live in Israel. His status doesn't change. Nothing is new. He's not better than his Noahide friends. Nothing changes. He is simply wanting to live in Israel. Yes, Dafka. That's the Iker Kabbalah. Do you want to take a flyer? Valzehu deneamar kol hadin de'ein ger toishev noyeg ela bizman shehayoyvel noyeg. You can't be a ger toshav today. Why? No Kabbalah. It's always going to be the same question. We don't do Kabbalah today. Alzeh teima'ani. Now, so I wondered about this, he says. I wondered about this. Is it really true that there's no ger toshav today? And the entire ger toshav sugya is someone who wants to live in the land? Is that the whole thing? Da'lo harbe dinim yesh she'ein lehem shum shaychis liYisrael. But there's a lot of dinim by non-Jews, call it ger toshav or what you will, that has nothing to do with living in Israel. Have you ever heard of any of those things? A din for a non-Jew, call it ger toshav, that has nothing to do with living in the land of Israel. Okay, another one. Let's find out. There are certain dinim that only exist for a ger toshav and not for a ben noyach. So Bob the Akum will have a different set of dinim in certain scenarios that our ger toshav friend would have. And you're asking what those are. The ben noyach shahareg b'shoygeg nahareg the ben noyach shahareg b'shoygeg nahareg the ger toshav geilim. So a ben noach accidentally killed somebody. God forbid we kill him. The ger toshav gets exiled. Different din. So you see, it is beneficial, right, to be ger toshav. When I say beneficial, we're not saying better. We're just saying different din, a special circumstance, versus ben noach. Now here's the trivia question for you. What level ger toshav are we asking here? Huh?
What level? What do you mean by level?
Which ger toshav? Does he not exist because of Jovel? Remember the question you should be thinking. Kabbalah. What level Kabbalah? Remember, don't think in terms of what kind of ger toshav is it. That doesn't exist. It's always a question. What Kabbalah? Was he a known non-idolater? Did he accept not to serve shituf? Was he a chassid amos ha'olam? Was he a yovel ger toshav? And I don't expect you to know the answer. What I do expect, so to speak, is you to think into it every time you see it. Because every time you see ger toshav in text, you're going to always have to think, okay, pause, which one is it again? And you'll never know. Why? Because a goy that keeps Shabbos is chayv misa. I.e., you can't know, you cannot figure it out. You got to look it up, and then the Perushim will tell you. Right? They'll say, he and the Yishmaelite. If that's true, what does that mean? Then he had no Kabbalah whatsoever. He's just a stamazoid non-idolater. But you didn't know that. You need to look it up. Why? Because when Rashi told you that, what was Rashi doing? Copying and pasting. Which means he's telling you where it's at in the Makor. A lot of people think that they need to know stuff. This is not one of the places that you need to know anything. All you need to do is be aware to stop, think, plug in, and apply. Another din. V'chein le'inyan adin de kenoyim pagoyim bo mevoyer b'Rambam de ina noyeg beger toishiv. How many of you have ever heard of Pinchas? Of course you have. And Pinchas killed Zimri and Cosby. What's that halacha called? Kanoyim pagoyin bo. A Jew's having relations with an idolatrous woman out in the open. You can kill the guy and her, right? So which woman is it? What do you think? So it's a non-Jewish woman who does not reject shituf. Right. So what I had to do, just to let you know, I looked up in the Rambam. Again, because I don't know. I don't know which level it is. How do I know? Maybe it's a Yovel Ger Toshav. Yeah.
It seems like something where you actually do need to know it and actually look it up. Because like if you're like, wait, are you the type of woman that they kill you or not? And then you walk back to your house, you go through the scar, and then you're like, oh, actually, I was supposed to kill you guys.
Yeah.
And you come back.
Right. Also, I looked it up today. This halacha because I hadn't looked it up yet, and like right on target. What does it say? One who is not an idolater. But again, it's copied and pasted, so I know what that means. It's the fourth shita, and Avodah Zarah 64b. Let's your Ishmaelite or the one that can drink wine or touch wine. It's that one. You wouldn't know that, right? It's a chiddush. I would have thought it was the Yovel one. I would have thought it was whatever one. The geschmack is when you look it up, you're gonna see the copy and paste. It's a machaya. You see what I'm saying? It's like you know it's gonna be there. And it's like every time it's gonna be there, and the same lashons used every time. I mean, whatever sheet it is that they copy and paste it into. So you see, the two cases brought are the same kind of ger toshav. And the interesting thing is they are ger toshav, like you said, that rejected shituf. Very good. So that's a darga higher than your Ishmaelite heretical ger toshav, if you want to call it that, right? Just some non-Jew that doesn't technically serve idols. So it's a level higher. So now what we're saying in the Brisker Rav is there is a ger toshav that is not connected to the land of Israel. Can we already say that by ger toshav it's veidinim? Yeah, at least. There's one that we're only talking Yovel and connected to the land of Israel. And there's these other ones over here that are not Israel. And it turns out that these two, by the case of accidental death and by Kinoy and Pagoyimbo, they're non-shituf ger toshav. So again, in the Brisker 64b, which is our main hub of ger toshav, Avodah Zarah 64b, 4 shitas. Remember them? 1, reject shituf. Number 2, 7 laws of Noah. 3, eats the vela and takes on all the mitzvahs of the Torah. There's your ger tzedek non-Jew source, by the way. And 4, he can be miyachid with wine. It's always, I'm pretty sure at this point, I'm not positive, but I'm 99% sure, it's always going to be one of those 4. You could get away with saying there are 4 types of ger toshav, even though there are more, because then you bring in the Evid. Is it the Evid ger toshav? Is he only keeping the 7 because he's my Evid? Is he a Sachir? Right, so he works at the hotel and he's a Noahide. Yeah. Yeah.
Was it 4 opinions about what ger toshav is?
What's that?
Was it 4 opinions about what ger toshav is, or does the Bible list 4 different types?
So that's everyone thinks that it's 4 opinions. It's not. I'll give you a good mashal, right? In Sanhedrin, they talk about different alternatives to what the Noahide laws are. Right? You know what kilayim is? So one example is that kilayim is usher to a ben Noach. So in Chulin, I think it's 92a, or unless it's 91a, but I think it's 92a. It says that in the future to come, the Bnei Noach will take on 30 additional mitzvahs. And it doesn't bring them there. And you look in the Ein Yaakov, you know what Ein Yaakov is? Ein Yaakov will tell you the 30 mitzvahs. Now, where does the Ein Yaakov bring them from? Sanhedrin. So if I were to go to Sanhedrin, I would say it's what? Machlekes. Right? All these rabbis are arguing about which mitzvahs are shaykh to Noahites. That wasn't the inyan at all. It was connected to Chulin, which was telling you 30 different mitzvahs that are shaykh to them. So you see, the 30 were not in machlokes. They were a super conscious position of all the different mitzvahs shaykh to b'nei noach. Same here in Avodah Zarah 64b. They are not four separate conflicting opinions. They're different universes stuck in one brisa. So when people think it's a machlokes, it's not. The machlokes is something very different. The machlokes is when I have a mitzvah to give nevela to the ger in your gate. Parshas Rei, chapter 14, pasuk 21. Right? I have a mitzvah, ostensibly a mitzvah deraisa, to give nevela to the ger in your gate, ger sheb'sharecha, and sell it to the nachri. I'm going to ask you, because I like to ask you these questions. What's the first question? Explain it to me. What's my problem? I got nevela at home, right? And I want to. My first question is: do I sell it or give it? What's the Indian by giving it? Explain it the best you can.
Does the person accept upon themselves not to?
And accept? What does that mean? Do we have to? I don't know. Does he need Kabbalah? Does he need based in? Is it the Ishmaelite Ger Toshav? Right? Which level of Kabbalah is it? So another way of saying that is plug that back into Avodah Zarah 64b, and which one of our guys is it? Is it the non-Shituf guy? Is it the Seven Laws Yovel guy? Is it the guy who actually is the case point example of nevela, just somebody who has Kabbalah Stam? Or is it the Ishmaelite guy? It's not the Ishmaelite guy because he's an Akum, and you can't give free gifts to an Akum. That much we know. So you see, it's the same thinking every single time. That's what's cool about it. So when you look it up, and in Yerodea, you can see the halachas for giving the nevela. I think we covered it a little bit last time. I'm not sure. You'll see it'll just bring. It's a machai to read it because it's crystal clear when you realize that it's not a machlokes. It's only a question of how to plug it in. If anything, it's a suffix. When I say suffix, not in the traditional sense, meaning we just don't know which level it is. Which level of Kabbalah do we need? But it's written about. All the poskim and Meforshim will tell you if you realize it's one complete sugya. And there are many examples like this. Hari de Kabbalah shenasa al yada leger toishev chadsha dinim gam le'inyan hager toishev ba'atzma the hartoira chalaka ben ger toishev leben noyach. So there is a fundamental difference between a ben noyach, according in Torah reality, from the ger toishev. Right? They are not the same non-Jew. Meaning, the word or phrase non-Jew or concept, just one old non-Jew in the world, doesn't exist. It's not reality. There's no such thing. The goyim, it doesn't exist. What is a goy? What is a non-Jew? It's a legal fiction. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing. I'll tell you what does exist. Idolaters. We talked about this. There's something called idolatry and an idolater. That guy is not Jewish. What is Judaism? I mean, on the kind of like the Philippe Shuto kind of way. It's a non-idolatrous people brought to Sinai with bris milah. And they rejected shituf. They are not idolatrous. They serve God. Obvious. But it's not so obvious unless you thought about it. So the inverse, the opposite of that, is an idolatrous people who serve idols. Then you ask yourself, is that a dogmatic situation? These idolaters in the world, are they to remain idolaters forever? The answer is no. To the point where you and I talked last week, we know that today it's considered that the 7 Canaanite nation idolatry is no longer with us. No one's doing that. So the whole world is considered shituf. Even out of shituf, they can reject shituf. They can move away from shituf. They can become less shituf. Then you get into the halachas about most people are considered like ger toshav. Here, read this. I'll read this to you. This is Shiloh's and Shuvas of Rabbi Rabinovich, the Rebbe of Lord Jonathan Sachs. I thought about you again on this, and he says, "V'filu yesh mehem she'ovdim avodah zara." Even in the world today, if there are those who do avodah zara, rova derova mehem laniyas dati bechlal geri toshav. Most of them are just some in the klal of geri toshav. Yeah. Because he's saying, number one, Kabbalah is a chumrah. Number one. It's not the Raisa. It's not the Raisa. It's like the Raisa. It's treated like the Raisa. The problem is, if I have a mitzvah that I need to do with a non-Jew, then I need to make sure that they're not an idol worshiper. Right? If I give nevela to a non-Jew, what's the chashash? That he's not an idolater. So if I think he's an idolater, if he is an idolater, it's a problem. So the Kabbalah guarantees that I will not do an avera by giving shefa or whatever to idolatry. The Torah warns against that. Most the religions are evolving not only out of gross avodah zarah, but they're largely leaving shituf the way that they did. The nations are in constant refinement of coming towards Torah and the God of Israel, right? And they're in the reality. We see it going on today. I work in that world. It's happening. They're leaving it behind. So for many inyanim, it's acceptable to treat them not as mamish geri toshav, but like geri toshav.
Are they considered Ishmael?
Ishmael usually is brought Ishmael and ger toshav. It's its own distinction. And Ishmaelite is unique because his book, the Quran, right? It pronounces one God. So it's impossible to say that they believe in many gods. They keep circumcision, but they're considered heretical, right? Because they have a religious belief of the one God. But it's enough they've done enough that it's not a problem to, let's say, have him in the house with your wine. Because, okay, he's not a nice guy. He may even kill you. But he's not going to do avodah zarah with your wine. See what I'm saying? It's ikar adin.
What does he mean when it says ger toshav?
So a ger toshav by the wine is a non-Jew who does not do idolatry. That's all it means. He's not an idolater. 7 Canaanite nation, call it that. Right? So today there's so much low-grade shituf that there's reason to be more makel in certain laws with non-Jews. I said certain laws. The wine, maybe giving the vela, right? And you got to look at the nafkaminas of each case.
Is it possible to have
Well, yain esach is the rabbanan anyways, because Rambam says stam goy is an idolater. It's not a avodah zarah fact. He's not, you know what I'm saying? He's just saying any non-Jew is considered an idolater. So the halacha goes, if you know he's not a mamish idolater, it's mutter. Not lechachila. We're not saying go drinking it up with the non-Jews, right? But it's mutter. All right, now. Ba'anam came the in mixur kablaso b'vala yie dino kaben noyach ta'alma. If he goes back on his Kabbalah, his din is like a ben noyach. So he rejected avodah zarah, he rejected shituf, and you saw him back in church. And he was let's just say in a strong case, he was bowing to a statue. Right? So that guy he's not standing in his Kabbalah. He's like a regular ben noyach.
He's also not an idolater.
Right, but let's say I don't feel comfortable giving him my nevela anymore. I want to sell it to him. He's a nachri. Right? The begufo lo nischadish davar rak hakol b'shvil kablasa. Everything goes by the Kabbalah. Nothing changes fundamentally. Aval kulzman shehu oimed bekablaso hari hatoira nitna lo dinim v'chalaka beino ubein ben noyach stama. All the time that he stands with Kabbalah, he is not a regular ben noyach. So again, it's about the Kabbalah. It's where he stands with the Kabbalah, and he's separated from ben noyach. You can't just say there are non-Jews in the world. It's one general category of goy in the world. It doesn't exist at all. They're dynamic. They're refining. They're coming out of it. Ulefi zeh gam hach dina de ein ger toishav noyeg ela bezman sheyoyvo noyeghu gam kein leinyan kol hadinim sheger toishav chaluk behem mishar ben noyeg. This is probably most probably the essence of the entire, literally the entire ger toshav sugi. Ready? The Rambam is quoting Erechin that there's no ger toshav ad zman yovel noyeg. We know that. We'll call it that the Ravid argues with that. We're on time. That was quick, huh? Good. So we'll end with this point. Again, I'm going to take it the long way. All right, it's just easier to get it the long way, so pay attention. Let's just say that the Rambam copies and pastes Erechin. Agreed? And there's a machlokes how to understand that Rambam. Keep in mind what the Brisker Rav said at the end. The words of the Rambam are very difficult. Right? We know that. There's the Magi Mishnah, and there is the Ravid. Yep. Two Perushim on the Rambam. The Ravid will tell you that to say that there's no ger toshav at all is not what the Rambam meant. He's saying ger toshav Eretz Yisrael. Obviously, there's not that. It's not Yovel today, and that's a Gemara. But again, that Gemara you could say is like the Goy Kim Shabbos Chayiv Misa. It's also not literal. Why? Because it's talking about an Eved Dafka, but that's another point. So the Ravid will say there are some things that are ger toshav today. And then if you want to really show the strength of the Ravid, he would say, but even today, a ger toshav can exist and can live in Israel. Because there's no Kedusha in the land of Israel today. We're in a Zman Gullus. So the Rambam, are talking about a high lechatchila standard of ger toshav. But a lot of other dinim exist. And the Magi Mishnah wants to say, no, the Rambam's saying, Lagamre, we don't do any Kabbalah whatsoever. So here's the point of contention in the Rambam. Listen to the Lashon. It's all in the Lashon. Right? It's all Lafim Shuto in the Lashon. Because remember, the Rambam, think about it. Think about this in an abstract way. To the Ravid and to the Magi Mishnah, the Rambam didn't really exist as a person. Why? Because he's Lafim Shuto in text. The Rambam becomes a text at a certain point, does he not? They're learning the text of the Rambam. The Rambam wasn't alive for them to go say, hey, clarify this halacha for us so that we stop arguing about it. So what it comes down to, the Rambam per se, is embedded in the following. Ulefi zeh, in the words of the Brisker Rav, Gam hach dina, de ein ger toishav noyeg, ela bezman sheyovo noyeg hu, gam kein. Just take that concept in your head. Yovel, gam kein kol hadinim, sheger toishav chaluk behem mishar ben noyeg. Is he saying that yovel noyeg, ger toshav, is one of the dinim, of all the dinim of ger toshav? And thereby the Ravid says some dinim yes, some dinim no. That's one way of viewing it, right? The other way of viewing it is all the dinim fit into this din. When there's yovel noyeg, all the other dinim are noyeg. When there's not the yovel noyeg, no other dinim are noyeg. Which comes out as the machlokes, Magi, Mishnah, and the Ravid. Do you see how you can goofa read two ways into it? And there's no easy answer. There's no answer. Why? Because the Rambam wrote it with Svei Dinim perfectly, everything with Ger Toshav is always Feidinim. If I say the word Kibel, what are you going to say? Which type? Meaning Feidinim. There's going to be two kinds. Gufa. Are you talking Kabbalah Mamish or like an Ishmaelite? If I say Ger Toshav, it's Feidinim, land of Israel, Ishmaelite. So with the whole sugi, it's always Feidinim. That's why I think the Brisk got into it more than anyone. It's just like a hotbed of their ideology and learning. So the Ikar Din of the Rambam is, it can go one of two ways. Again, the Das, a Rambam, Ikar Din hu de B'shah she'ein hayoy v'nayeg ein makablin. Memela dehu hadin keben noyach da alma. He's saying you can learn it, there's no Kabbalah at all. So you will always be a ben noyach until Yovel. V'ayim b'magi Mishnah b'hilchas Asuri b'yesh akasav gam kein pashu kein b'das Rambam. There's no Kabbalah whatsoever. Now here's a trick question. The Rambam in Hilchos Asuri B of 14, 8 and 9, more 9 than 8, and the Indians on 9, is talking about the Evid. Erechin is talking about the Evid. So even the Magi Mishnah, who says we don't have any Kabbalah today at all, is he talking only of Vadim? I.e., we can make Chasidi Amos Olam? Or even Chasidi Amos Olam, there's no Kabbalah. Hear the question? How far does it go? Sveidinim, once again. Ulam Dasarai Vidacheres Bezeh, the Rakli Inyan Dinam Yuchtimhu, the Talay Bezman She Yoivonayid. Aval Shita Saramam Kima Pshutim Afarish Kanal. Time. We're good, so I'll close on this point. Next week, we're going to finish the series of 3 classes, okay? Try to come and finish it off. And we're going to do the second paragraph. And I'll give you just a quick Hadama to that. Is the Kabbalah issues of the Rambam are only concerning the first paragraph. The Kabbalah between Ger Toshav, Ger Tzedek, all the dinim. My Ger Toshav friend accidentally killed a guy, Chas v'shalom, right? Do we put him in exile? No, we're not Makablan today. We don't differentiate in din between the Ben Noach and the Ger Toshav. This is what I was telling you earlier. That in Hilchos Shabbos, I have a Ger Toshav friend, right? Only he didn't have Kabbalah. Why? He was Kibel, but we don't know what Kibel means. Just like in the Lashon of the Mishnah Berurah, right? So, because he didn't get Kabbalah, or at least I don't know if he really had Kabbalah, I am mutter. It's mutter to ask him to be my Shabbos Goy. Because until I know he has Kabbalah, I don't need to fear or think he had Kabbalah. So I'm not putting a stumbling block before the blind. He's the one with the Kula. He's got no Kabbalah. He, on the other hand, thinks he's a Ger Toshav, took on 7, was Kibel, whatever Kibel is. He has to tell me what's going on. And I might not accept that. That's fine. So either way, he may be a Ger Toshav without Kabbalah, but I don't have to adhere to that. So it is mutter to ask him to help me out on Shabbos. Right? That's the greater world of Ger Toshav and Kabbalah, according to the Rambam. But what the Brisker Rav is going to say next week is that by Chasidi Amos Olam and Hilchos Malachim, Paraches is a radically different Ger Toshav, radically different Kabbalah than all the Kabbalah issues and Ger Toshav issues that are in the world of the Rambam and the Ravid and all these things, right? So next week he's going to answer up the Kabbalah of Chassid Amos Olam, why they have to have it, yada yada yada, how to know the difference in the context, and then again he ends by the words the Rambam are very very difficult, and then we go back to the beginning. What is the practical difference between the Kabbalah Ger Toshav Kabbalah?